Our next speaker is Frank Donovan, followed by Isaiah Asia. Frank?
Thank you, Madam President. And thank you very much, Governor, for being here and listening to the people. I think it's very important. Quick background check on me. I'm a retired producer and host for Connecticut Public Television, and indeed the Connecticut General Assembly was the first legislature in America to allow live television coverage, and I was producer and host on that along with Andy Yuko back in 1964. I was also the producer and host and the interview of all the debates for almost 20 years, 24 years, for all the governors and U.S. Senate candidates and Congress. So I congratulate you on doing a very difficult job. I want to talk to you about one of the things that you've got on your, what more work to do in 2014. Make college more affordable and accessible. I think that one of the great pieces of legislation in America was the Moral Land Grant Act, signed by Abraham Lincoln and drafted by Justin Morrow, the representative from Vermont. And to paraphrase, but only too slightly, it was to provide a higher education for the sons and daughters of the agricultural and industrial classes. I'm a product of that. I grew up in Boston, went out to UMass and Amherst where I met my wife. That was Mass Aggie. MIT was the mechanical side of that. UCONN was Connecticut Agricultural College. I'm concerned about what's happening right now at UCONN, and I'm concerned because I have two of my five children because Catholic method.
You're talking to somebody who's the youngest of eight. I can stop you one second. I'm the youngest of eight. My sister Gail was born when there were 7 boys, and people would tease my father about having 8 kids. So I had one sister, 7 boys, and he would say, well, Brian, Carrie, Sean, and Dan were all supposed to be Deborah.
Happy St. Patrick's Day. In any event, I'm concerned about what's happening at the University of Connecticut. President Susan Herb sometimes is disingenuous when she's talking about cutting to the bone. And one of the concerns that I bring to the tuitions at UCONN, more specifically, when she brags about the fact that last year that 33% of the admissions at UCONN in stores were from out of state, and now she's aiming for 39 to 40%. I think that does a severe injustice to the men and women of the working class of Connecticut who are paying the freight for the University of Connecticut. I have no problems at all with this. But when you go down to 1/3 or 40%, 39%, and you're saying that that's all, for variety, and so when it's really to make money because they have to pay more, and I understand that. One of my boys went to Cornell, which was agricultural culture back in the old days, but he paid out of state. But I just believe that that's wrong, and I think something needs to be done to make college more affordable for ordinary men and women. I'm lucky enough to have gone from CPTV to the General Electric's corporate headquarters here and chatted about that before in Fairfield. But in any event, I think we're really hurting the sons and daughters of the agricultural and industrial classes.
Okay, so let me say that on the affordability issue, I absolutely agree with you. And we have required at UCONN, and I think we've done a better job with UCONN than we have done with some of the other portions of the system, making sure that every time tuition goes up, that a commensurate amount goes into financial aid. And in fact, the financial aid level at UCONN has remained relatively constant. With respect to what is the right percentage of in-state and out-of-state students, I don't really have a dog in that fight, to be very clear. But what I think you have to understand is that we are enlarging that institution at the Storrs campus by 5,000 students. Something that quite frankly should have been done long ago. And in fact, the reason that it never got done was reported that it was a water issue. Well, I got news for you. Connecticut has a lot of water. In fact, we don't have a lot of natural resources other than water. And now moving it there is an issue, but clearly a good engineering school could figure that one out. With respect to the University of Connecticut, I hear you. Oh, by the way, we also are putting millions more into the governor's scholarship program as well. So these things don't exist in a vacuum. They are interconnected. Very high percentage of students, both at UCONN and in the region system do in fact receive financial aid. At least as of a year ago, of all of the state universities in New England, UConn was the second least expensive. So I want to make sure you heard me.
I heard you.
Massachusetts, Vermont, New Hampshire, Maine, Rhode Island, Connecticut. Of those state universities, Connecticut was the second cheapest. And so I think that that's not necessarily a bad goal to have. Hold on a second. No tuitions and fees, including fees. We were the second least expensive. Now, I don't have where we are right this year, I'm being honest with you. But when this all started, about the improvements that needed to be made at UConn, that's where we were. I'm particularly proud, and I want to say that our concentration on STEM, science, technology, math, and engineering, very expensive areas in which to educate, I might add, have become really a focal point of our improvements at the University of Connecticut. So the engineering school will be 70% larger than it is today. And this year's freshman class, the class that started in September, was 40% larger than the class the year before. And the SAT scores went up by 8 points. Now what we're doing at the Regent system as well is trying to have an integrated system so that we can make sure young people, or people who are non-traditional students, can obtain a 2-year and a 4-year degree at the least expensive possible price. That's why we have to integrate that 12 community colleges with the 4 universities and the 1 online university in the state of Connecticut, and that's what we're doing. Because if you get your 2 years associate degree at one of our community colleges, you should be able to take that bag of credits and without question be admitted to and matriculate in one of our 4 universities in that system. Quite frankly, I believe with the right grades you should be able to matriculate at the University of Connecticut as well. And in that way make education substantially, effectively, less expensive in Connecticut than it has been before. Because you know, or some people here might know, that one of the hardest things for years in Connecticut was to get one state university to take the credits from another state university or community college. That makes no sense. And added cost and burdens to students on an ongoing basis. So we're trying to do completely away with that. And we're doing one other thing. There are over 107,000 people who started their education in a state university or community college and didn't get the commensurate associate's degree or 4-year degree. We're inviting anyone who was at one of our schools more than 18 months ago, had started a degree program but not had finished it. In legislation I've proposed, we've invited them all back, and we will give you 3 free courses. 3 free courses. Now, it's actually 2 for 1. So if you take 1 course, you get 1 free. You take a second course, you get a second and third. But effectively, it's 3 free courses. So this idea of affordability and degree completion and moving through the system, 2 systems, the Regent system and the UCONN system, are very important to me. And they're another way of addressing the affordability issue. But I hear you. That's why we also allotted additional money to the Regent system to hold their increases at 2%. And UCONN is on a big expansion program, and I guess we need to figure out, make sure that they're doing that as effectively and cost-effectively as possible. But I think with the additional 5,000 students at the Storrs campus, an additional 6,400 students in the entirety of the UCONN system, we're on the right road. I hear you. It's on my mind. I'll work on it.
I appreciate your answer, but I'm still concerned. I don't think you responded that well to it on the question of out-of-state students and so forth. No problem, 15%. What gets high at really for the money.
Let me be, just so you couldn't hear, the gentleman raised the question of the proportionality of that. Well, you know, it may not, and it may. I think if you enlarge the system by 6,400 students, which is what our package calls for, and which has been agreed to by the University of Connecticut, it gives you more room. If you want to attract to the state of Connecticut great talent, we have great talent within the state. But we also have great talent outside the state. We know if they're educated at one of our state institutions it makes it far more likely that they're going to come to our state or stay in our state. Oh yeah, no, I don't shake your head, because I've seen the statistics. You come to Connecticut, you get an engineering degree. The number one employer is United Technologies. For whether you were from Connecticut or you came from another state, you get an engineering degree, the number one employer is United Technologies. So yeah, I hear you. Finding the right balance is important. I think expanding the school is important as well. Okay?
Thank you very much. Governor,